All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on what makes a truly great AI agent. Well, tick. We are going to deconstruct the magic behind one of the best AI coding assistants out there, and you might be surprised to find out the lessons are actually pretty simple. So let's just dive right in.
You know that feeling, right? You use one AI tool, and it's like you're fighting it the whole time. It's frustrating. But then you try another one, and it's totally seamless. It's like it's reading your mind. Well, that difference isn't an accident, and it really points to a deeper truth about how these things are built. So, the agent we're putting under the microscope today is Claude Code. And what's so wild is that other tools can be using the exact same powerful language model underneath, but users will consistently say Claude Code is just better, more effective, less annoying, and yeah, people actually use the word delightful.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What's the secret sauce here? It's obviously not just about having the biggest, baddest model. Something else is going on with the design, with the architecture, that just sets it apart. So what is it?
And the answer, when you really dig into it, is a principle that's as old as engineering itself. You've probably heard it before. Instead of adding all these layers of complexity, Claude Code's genius is in its profound, almost stubborn simplicity.
So here's how we're going to break this down. We're going to look at four key things. First, the engine. That's its core loop and its prompts. Then the hands, how it actually uses tools to get stuff done. Third, the personality, how it's steered to be helpful and not annoying. And finally, the big lesson, the builder's takeaway, for anyone out there making stuff with AI.
Okay, let's start at the very foundation, the engine that powers this whole thing. This is all about its basic architecture and the instructions it's running on. So the first big choice they made is architectural. You see a lot of people chasing these super complex multi-agent systems, but Claude Code, it uses just one main control loop. It's a simple, flat structure. And you know what that means? It's way, way easier to debug than some tangled mishmash of different agents where things can break in a million unpredictable ways.
And this is just brilliant. It really shows that keep it simple philosophy in action. For more than half of its internal chores, things like just reading a file or summarizing a conversation, it doesn't bother the big, expensive model. Nope, it uses a smaller, faster one like Claude Haiku. It's such a smart, pragmatic choice. It saves time, saves money, and doesn't hurt the quality where it really counts. So if the loop is the engine block, the prompts are like the incredibly fine-tuned software that tells it exactly what to do. And we're not talking about just a few sentences of instruction here. We're talking about a super detailed, highly structured guide that leaves almost nothing to chance.
I mean, just to give you an idea of the scale here, the main system prompt, so the core set of rules the AI always follows, is around 2,800 tokens long. That is thousands of words just setting the stage before it even looks at what you asked it to do.
And hold on, it gets even more intense. The prompt that only describes the tools it can use, that's over 9,400 tokens long. The takeaway here is huge. You can't be vague with these things. You have to spell out everything for the model.
So how on earth do you organize all that information? Well, Claude Code uses these special XML tags to make it super clear. It's got tags to remind the model of important rules, tags to show it good examples of what it should do, and even tags to show it bad examples of what it should absolutely not do. It's literally like writing a detailed instruction manual, complete with pictures of what to do and what to avoid.
All right, so that's the engine. Now let's talk about the hands of the agent. We've got a simple engine, we've got crystal clear instructions, but how does it actually reach out and interact with a code base to get work done?
This is another huge design decision. Instead of using a really complex RAG system, that's retrieval augmented generation, which just adds a ton of extra layers where things can go wrong, Claude Code does something way simpler. It basically just trusts the LLM to be smart. It lets the model use command line tools to search the code, just like a human developer would. It doesn't over-engineer it.
Now, when we look at the actual tools themselves, the key isn't just picking one type of tool. It's about giving the model a whole toolbox. So it has low-level tools like a raw command line for maximum flexibility. It's got medium-level tools for common tasks. And it's got high-level, super reliable tools for complex things that have to work the same exact way every single time.
So for example, you've got Bash for that low-level do-anything flexibility. Then you've got Edit, which is a more medium-level, well-defined task. And then you have something like WebFetch, which is high-level. It does one specific, complex thing very reliably. This tiered system gives the model the right tool for any job. And here's another simple but totally brilliant idea. The agent keeps its own to-do list.
This is huge for preventing something called context rot, where a long-running task gets kind of lost and forgets what its original goal was. This little to-do list acts like its North Star, just keeping it focused.
So, we have a simple engine and some really capable hands. The final piece of the puzzle is the personality. All the explicit instructions that make the agent feel tasteful and helpful and not, preachy or just plain annoying.
That delightful feeling we talked about, it is not an accident. It is engineered right into the system prompt with rules like these. Do not add unnecessary fluff. If you can't help, don't give a lecture about why it just sounds preachy. And only use emojis if somebody asks for them. These super strict rules are what create that clean, focused experience.
And how do you make sure the model actually follows these rules? Well, this is kind of funny. The source article points out that sometimes the best way to get a multi-billion parameter model to pay attention is to basically just shout at it in all caps. It's a little crude, sure, but it's a pretty honest look at where the tech is today.
So here's the really crucial insight. Instead of just throwing a messy list of rules at the model, the best practice is to write out a clear algorithm for it to follow. Think of it like a flowchart for the AI. You spell out the decision points, you give it clear guidance, and you provide examples for each step. This kind of structure is just so much more reliable than a simple soup of do's and don'ts.
All right, let's pull this all together. We've looked at the engine, the tools, the personality. So what's the single biggest lesson here for anyone out there trying to build a useful AI agent?
The lesson is crystal clear. You have to resist the urge to over-engineer things. The power is already there in the large language model. Your job as a builder isn't to create another massively complex system on top of it. Your job is to build a simple, clean, robust harness that gives the model clear instructions and the right tools, and then just get out of the way and let the model do the heavy lifting.
And that leaves us with this really big, thought-provoking question that kind of echoes a famous idea in AI called the bitter lesson. Is the story of Claude Code just more proof that in the long run, the winning strategy is always to bet on simple methods and just let the general power of the model do the work, instead of trying to bake in a bunch of complex, human-designed knowledge? It seems like by embracing simplicity, we might be unlocking the real power here. Definitely something to think about.